Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most talked about topics in reality TV, the final chapter of Georgi and Darcey Silva's relationship. After years of ups and downs, breakups and makeups, the two have officially ended things with a divorce. If you've been following their journey on Darcey and Stacey, or even from 90 Day Fiancé, you know this has been a long time coming. Let's talk through their story, what led to the split, and what's next for both of them. When Darcey first introduced Georgi to the world, fans were hopeful. He was younger, attractive, and seemed like he could be the one to finally give her the happily ever after she'd been chasing. Darcey has always been open about wanting true love, and after everything she had gone through on television, from heartbreak to being criticized, she really seemed to want this relationship to work. Georgi, on the other hand, came across as reserved and a little mysterious. Some fans thought he was shy, while others wondered if he had hidden motives. From the very beginning, the relationship was under a microscope. Over time, viewers started noticing the cracks. Communication was one of the biggest issues. Darcey often felt like Georgi wasn't opening up, while Georgi seemed frustrated by Darcey's insecurities and need for constant reassurance. They also clashed over money, lifestyle choices, and even the influence of Darcey's family. Her twin sister Stacey and her daughters were always a big part of her life, and Georgi sometimes struggled to fit into that dynamic. It didn't take long before arguments became a normal part of their storyline. Despite the drama, the two got engaged not once, but twice. Darcey kept hoping things would change, but each time they tried again, the same problems came back. Fans often debated whether Georgi was truly in love with Darcey or if he was there for fame, exposure, or financial security. Darcey's friends and family weren't shy about voicing their concerns either, which made things even harder for the couple. One of the big turning points was when Darcey started realizing she wasn't happy anymore. She had invested so much into the relationship, but she still felt like she wasn't getting the emotional support she needed. On camera, we saw her break down multiple times, questioning if Georgi was the right person for her. Georgi, meanwhile, often stayed silent or gave vague answers, which only fueled her doubts. The cycle of breaking up and reconciling became exhausting not only for them, but also for viewers who genuinely wanted Darcey to find peace. Eventually, Darcey made the decision to walk away. And this time it was final. The legal divorce process confirmed what fans had already suspected. Their love story had officially come to an end. For Darcey, this wasn't just about ending a relationship. It was about reclaiming her independence, focusing on her career, her daughters, and her personal growth. She has always said she wants a fairy tale ending, but maybe the fairy tale she's looking for starts with self-love first. Georgi, on the other hand, has been keeping a lower profile since the divorce news. Some say he's focusing on himself and his work, while others believe he's just staying out of the spotlight to avoid criticism. His time on reality TV showed us a man who didn't always know how to handle pressure or public judgment, and now, without Darcey by his side, it will be interesting to see how he moves forward. Whether he re-enters the dating scene publicly or chooses a more private path, fans will definitely be watching. The divorce of Georgi and Darcey isn't just celebrity gossip. It's also a reminder of how difficult relationships can be when trust, communication, and compatibility aren't aligned. On TV, everything is magnified, but even off camera, the challenges they faced are very real. Many fans sympathize with Darcey because they've been in relationships where they felt undervalued or unsupported. Others empathize with Georgi, believing he was unfairly portrayed at times. No matter where you stand, it's clear that both of them had their share of struggles, and sometimes love just isn't enough to make it work. Looking at the bigger picture, Darcey has always been someone who reinvents herself after heartbreak. From her previous relationships to now, she keeps showing resilience. She's a mother first, a businesswoman, and a woman determined to find her own version of happiness. Fans are already cheering her on, saying this divorce could be the fresh start she needs. And maybe without the stress of a troubled relationship, she'll finally get the peace and confidence she's been searching for. For Georgi, this could also be a turning point. Ending the marriage may give him the chance to reflect on what he really wants out of life and love. If he decides to stay in the public eye, He might try to reshape his image, showing a different side of himself than what was seen on reality TV. If he steps away from the cameras, that might be the healthiest choice for him too. Either way, the divorce gives him the opportunity to start over. At the end of the day, relationships are complicated and breakups are never easy. Georgi and Darcey shared a lot of personal moments with the world, and now, as their story together officially closes, fans are left with mixed feelings. Some are sad it didn't work out, while others are relieved Darcey finally moved on. What everyone seems to agree on, though, is that both deserve happiness, whether that's together or apart. And since it's apart now, we can only hope they both use this chapter to grow, heal, and find joy in new ways. Now that the dust has settled, a lot of fans are asking one big question. What's next for Darcey Silva? Over the years, she's become not just a reality TV personality, but also a symbol of persistence when it comes to love. She's shown the world her most vulnerable side, crying on camera, chasing after romance, and sometimes even losing herself in the process. But this divorce could mark a real shift. Instead of being defined by her relationships, Darcey has the chance to be defined by her strength and independence. She has her own fashion brand, her TV platform, and most importantly, her daughters who look up to her. Many fans believe that now, more than ever, she'll focus on her role as a mother and businesswoman, proving that she doesn't need a man to validate her worth. Of course, that doesn't mean Darcey is giving up on love. Knowing her, she will continue to search for that connection she's always dreamed about. But maybe this time, she'll do it differently. Maybe she'll put herself first, set stronger boundaries, and demand the respect and honesty she deserves. She has always said she wants a partner who lifts her up, not one who tears her down, and now she's free to look for exactly that. Some fans even hope she takes a break from dating completely, focusing instead on her personal growth. Either way, people are rooting for her because they've seen how much she's given and how much she's been through. As for Georgi, the story is a little different. His time in the spotlight wasn't always kind. He faced criticism for being too quiet, too secretive, and for not showing enough affection. Some accused him of being with Darcey for the wrong reasons, while others argued that he was simply misunderstood. The truth probably lies somewhere in between. Reality TV can edit people in certain ways, highlighting their flaws while ignoring their strengths. Off camera, Georgi may very well be different than the man we saw on screen. With the divorce finalized, he now has the chance to rewrite his story. Whether he steps back into the dating world or focuses on building a life outside of TV, this is a reset button for him. Fans have mixed feelings about Georgi. Some never trusted him, while others feel bad that he was painted as the villain. Either way, people are curious to see if he'll open up about his side of the story now that the relationship is officially over. Will he speak out about what really happened between him and Darcey? Or will he remain silent and let people keep their own opinions? Time will tell. One thing's for sure, his name will always be tied to Darcey Silva in reality TV history, and no divorce papers can erase that. The breakup also says a lot about how tough it is to live your relationship in the public eye. Every argument, every mistake, every emotional breakdown is caught on camera and shared with millions. That pressure can crush even the strongest couples. For Darcey and Georgi, it meant that their private struggles were magnified and their flaws were put under a microscope. Instead of having the space to quietly work things out, they were constantly reminded of their issues by producers, fans, and even family members on screen. It's no wonder their love story ended the way it did. But here's the thing about endings. They often bring new beginnings. Darcey now has a chance to show the world a new chapter. Maybe it will be about self-love, empowerment, and independence. Maybe it will be about finding a healthier, more supportive relationship. Whatever it is, fans are ready to follow along because, love her or not, Darcey has always been authentic. She shows her flaws, her heartbreak, and her hope, and that's why people connect with her. They see themselves in her struggles, and that's powerful. Georgi's new beginning might be quieter. He might not share it with the world in the same way Darcey does, but that doesn't make it any less important. Sometimes healing happens in private. Sometimes growth comes from stepping away from the spotlight and finding peace outside of cameras and public opinion. If Georgie takes that path, it might be the healthiest choice for him. And who knows, maybe one day he'll surprise everyone by coming back stronger and more open than before. So, as we wrap up this story, the question isn't just why did Georgie and Darcey divorce? It's also what do we learn from their journey? Relationships require trust, communication, and balance. Without those things, even love isn't enough. Watching Darcey and Georgie's relationship unfold on TV showed us that no matter how glamorous or dramatic things look on the outside, real struggles can tear people apart. But it also showed us resilience, the ability to move forward even when things don't go the way you planned. And maybe that's the takeaway. Darcey and Georgie may not have gotten their happy ending together, but that doesn't mean they won't find happiness separately. The divorce is not the end of their stories, it's just the end of one chapter. The next one could be even better. For both of them, one thing that's important to remember is how invested fans were in Darcey and Georgie's relationship. Every season, viewers tuned in hoping for progress, hoping to see Darcey get her fairy tale ending. But with every fight, every tear, and every dramatic exit, people started to realize that maybe this love story wasn't destined to last. Still, the fascination never went away. People wanted to see how it would all end, and now we finally have that closure, a divorce that puts the nail in the coffin of their roller coaster romance. But what's interesting is how differently people react to their split. Some fans are cheering, saying it's the best thing Darcey could have done for herself. They feel she deserves so much better, someone who will match her energy and give her the love she craves. Others feel a little sad, not because they thought the relationship was perfect, but because they were rooting for her to finally find lasting happiness. And then, of course, there are the fans who sympathize with Georgie. They think he was unfairly judged, that the cameras exaggerated his flaws, and that he never stood a chance in Darcey's very high-pressure world. The truth is, there's no simple answer. Both of them made mistakes. Both of them struggled. And both of them, in the end, couldn't make it work. That's real life, messy, complicated, and often disappointing. The divorce is just the legal stamp on what emotionally ended long before. Now, let's talk about what this means for Darcey and Stacey, the show itself. Reality TV thrives on drama, and Darcey's love life has always been at the center of it. With Georgie officially out of the picture, the question is, what's next for the series? Will we see Darcey navigating single life again? Will the show focus more on her personal growth and her bond with her daughters? Or will producers introduce a new love interest to keep viewers hooked? If history tells us anything, it's that Darcey won't stay single for long. She has a big heart, and she's always searching for love. But this time, fans hope she'll take it slower and choose someone who truly values her. On the flip side, what about Georgie? His time on the show is probably over, but he'll always be part of its history. People will always remember him as the man who captured Darcey's heart twice and still couldn't hold onto it. For some, he'll remain a mystery, the quiet guy who never revealed enough. For others, he'll be the ex who simply wasn't right for her. Either way, he made his mark. It's also worth thinking about how Darcey's daughters feel in all of this. They've been open on the show about wanting their mom to be happy, but they've also been protective, often questioning whether Georgie was good for her. Now that the divorce is final, they may feel relief that their mom is finally moving on. It's not easy watching a parent go through heartbreak, especially on TV, but maybe this chapter closing will bring some peace to the whole family. And what about Darcey's twin sister, Stacey? She has been both supportive and critical throughout this relationship, sometimes clashing with Georgie herself. For Stacey, this divorce probably feels like confirmation of what she said all along, that Georgie wasn't the right one. With her own marriage to Florian playing out on screen, Stacey's love life has also had its ups and downs, but in the end, she wants her sister to have the same stability she's found. This divorce could be the first step in Darcey finally finding that stability too. Now, let's zoom out a bit. Beyond the drama and the headlines, what can we all learn from Darcey and Georgie's relationship? First, that love alone isn't enough. You can love someone deeply, but if communication isn't there, if trust isn't there, and if you can't grow together, the relationship will suffer. Second, that sometimes walking away is the strongest choice you can make. Darcey spent years trying to fix something that was broken. By finally letting go, she showed strength, not weakness. And third, that life goes on. Divorce is painful, but it's also an opportunity to start over, to learn from the past, and to build a brighter future. That's why. Even though this is the end of Georgi and Darcey as a couple, it doesn't have to be a sad story. In fact, it could be a hopeful one. Both of them now have the freedom to find what truly makes them happy. For Darcey, that could mean discovering self-love and eventually meeting someone who gives her the respect she's always deserved. For Georgi, it could mean finding peace away from the cameras, or maybe even surprising everyone with his own new chapter. At the end of the day, breakups and divorces are part of life. They don't define us, they just shape us. And for Darcey and Georgi, this divorce is not the end. It's simply the beginning of two new stories. So, as fans, we'll keep watching, supporting, and maybe even learning from their journey. Because in the end, that's what makes reality TV so addictive. It shows us the raw, unfiltered parts of life that we can all relate to, even if we don't always want to admit it. So that's where we'll leave it today. Georgi and Darcey Silva, officially divorced, officially moving on, and officially starting fresh. Do you think Darcey will finally find the love she's been searching for? Or is her story more about finding herself than finding someone else? Let me know in the comments. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. When we think about Darcey Silva's journey, it's impossible not to recognize just how much she shared with the world. From her first appearance on 90 Day Fiancé, before the 90 days to starring in her own spin-off with her sister Stacey, Darcey has let cameras capture some of her most intimate, emotional, and vulnerable moments. That takes courage. And while she's faced plenty of criticism, from her love life to her appearance, she's also built a loyal fan base who connect with her because of her openness. This divorce from Georgi is just another chapter in that story. Painful, yes, but also a chance for growth, healing, and maybe even reinvention. Now, Darcey has always been a dreamer. She believes in love, in soulmates, in the idea that someone is out there for her. That's why so many fans relate to her, because who hasn't wanted that at some point in their lives? But love isn't always easy, and sometimes we fall for the wrong person at the wrong time. That's what seemed to happen with Georgi. He wasn't necessarily a bad person, but he wasn't the right person for her. Their energies didn't match, their priorities clashed, and their communication never truly worked. Love might have been there, but it wasn't enough to hold everything else together. It's also worth pointing out that Darcey didn't just lose a partner, she lost the vision she had for her future. Every time she got engaged, she pictured the wedding, the life together, the happy ending. Having to let go of that dream is almost harder than letting go of the person. But Darcey is resilient. We've seen her bounce back before, and she'll bounce back again. This divorce might actually free her to create a better future, one that isn't tied to someone who can't give her what she needs. For Georgi, this divorce is a turning point too. He now has the space to figure out who he is without Darcey, without the cameras, and without the drama of reality TV. Whether or not people believe he was misunderstood, he now gets the chance to prove himself in his own way. Maybe he'll open up more about what really happened. Maybe he'll share his side of the story in interviews. Or maybe he'll stay quiet and let people wonder. Either way, this divorce forces him to move forward, and only he can decide what that looks like. Some fans are already speculating about whether Darcey will jump back into dating quickly or take time to herself. If history is any guide, we know she loves romance, so it wouldn't be surprising if she starts exploring new relationships sooner rather than later. But maybe this time, things will be different. Maybe she'll go in with stronger boundaries, clearer expectations, and more confidence. One thing is certain, whatever happens next in her love life, people will be watching, cheering her on, and maybe even warning her when they see red flags. And we can't ignore the role of family in all of this. Darcey's daughters, Aniko and Aspen, have been through this journey with her. They've watched their mom get hurt, they've voiced their opinions, and they've shown incredible maturity. At the end of the day, they just want her to be happy. Now, with Georgi out of the picture, they may feel like their mom finally has a chance to find that happiness without constant drama. Stacey, her twin, has also been a strong presence, even when her honesty caused friction. But that's what sisters do. They look out for each other, even when the truth stings. So here's the bigger message. This divorce isn't just a tabloid headline. It's a reminder that sometimes letting go is the bravest thing you can do. It's about choosing peace over chaos, growth over stagnation, and self-respect over settling. Darcey may have wanted a fairy tale, but maybe her real fairy tale isn't about finding a prince. Maybe it's about becoming her own hero. And maybe Georgie's fairy tale is about finding his own voice, away from the shadows of someone else's spotlight. For fans, this story feels like the closing of a long, dramatic book. We've seen the highs, the lows, the engagements, the breakups, the tears, and now, finally, the ending. But endings always open the door to new beginnings. That's what makes this moment powerful. We're not just saying goodbye to Darcey and Georgie as a couple. We're saying hello to whatever comes next for both of them.